everybody, and welcome to my Magicka Sorcerer PvE building rotation video. At this first things first, I'm going to go over your armor. You have two different choices for your 5-piece. You can run 5 Twiceborn Star or 5 Burning Spellweave. There are differences between the two sets, mainly being Burning Spellweave is slightly higher DPS or a lot more DPS depending on the weapons you're using. Burning Spellweave gives roughly 2k more DPS over Twiceborn Star if both of your staves are Inferno. However, if you're using a front bar Lightning Staff, Burning Spellweave only gives about 200 to 300 more DPS than Twiceborn Star, at the cost of 1.4k health. So if you're using a Lightning Staff and an Inferno Staff, you may want to consider running Twiceborn Star over Burning Spellweave. But if you're double barring Inferno Staves, it is definitely worth it to run Burning Spellweave. As for your jewelry, you want to run either Moondancer, which is best in slot, IA, which is second best in slot, or Willpower, which is third best in slot. For your main hand stave, you have 3 choices. In terms of DPS, the best thing you could have is a set weapon. So a Moondancer staff or an Infallible Aether staff, depending on the jewelry you're wearing. The second best thing you could do is run a Maelstrom staff. The third best thing you could do is run a non-set weapon that you just crafted yourself and golded out and put an enchant on it. So, now that we've gone over that, there's 2 different monster sets you can wear. You can either wear Alambris or Grothars. Alambris is better, but Grothars is still pretty decent. However, Grothars requires you to be melee distance, so only run Grothars if you can be melee. But if you have to be ranged, which is one of the biggest benefits to being Xorks, then you have to go Alambris because Grothars is really bad at range, because you will not even hit them with the 2-piece. You want one of them to be medium, one of them to be heavy. That way you make use of your Undaunted passives. As for your abilities, you want to have, on your front bar, you want to have Force Pulse, Noob Filter, Crystal Frags, Inner Light, and Bound Aegis. You have 2 choices for your Noob Filter. Empowered Ward. Empowered Ward is good because it's a bigger shield than the light armor shield. It lasts 4 seconds more, and it gives group utility as it gives minor intellect to everybody. But the benefits to doing Harness Magicka instead is even though it's a smaller shield and it doesn't last nearly as long, it gives way more personal sustain. As for your back bar, you want to run Liquid Lightning, Mage's Wrath, Blockade of Fire, Inner Light, Bound Aegis, double bar Meteor. The rotation is very simple. I'll show it off here at the dummy. Remember to light attack before each and every ability. So you want to start off with, this is very important. This rotation is very simple, but it is very important to do it in this order. You want to do Liquid Lightning first, and then Blockade of Fire. You're probably wondering why. Look to the right of my ultimate number, and you'll see if you do Liquid Lightning and then Blockade of Fire, they both run out at the exact same time. If you do it the other way around, Blockade of Fire then Liquid Lightning, you'll see that Blockade runs out way before Liquid Lightning. That's the DPS loss. So, the rotation is very simple, like I stated. Liquid Lightning, Blockade of Fire, Bar Swap, spam Force Pulse, use Crystal Frags and proc. Light attack between every ability. Reapply dots when they run out. Prioritize your dots, even if your Crystal Frags procs. And another small trick, hopefully it works. As you can see, if you use Blockade of Fire and you instantly bar swap, there is a chance that your Crystal Frags will proc. That's not a visual bug. As you can see, I just insta-casted crystal frags. So if you're very fast with your bar swap after using Blockade of Fire, you can freely proc your crystal frags. So now that I've gone over all of those basics, now I'll do the DPS parse. However, I need to slot Elemental Drain. Keep in mind that since I'm personally using Elemental Drain, I will not have 100% uptime on it, and the DPS parse will be slightly lower than if somebody else was here throwing me orbs and applying Ele Drain for me. So here we go. Rotation is very simple. Remember, like I stated earlier, if Crystal Frags procs but your dots run out, it's still better to, like this, it's still better to prioritize, it's better to prioritize your dots than throwing the extra Crystal Frags. Whenever you get back to your bar, your Crystal Frags will still be procs, so you can still throw them. It's not like they'll time out before you can get back to your bar. The rotation does not change at all until 20%. At 20%, instead of going back to my front bar to spam Force Pulse, instead you will just stay on your back bar and spam Mage's Wrath. So 20% is approaching, so I'm going to get ready. It's 20%, so that means execute time. During execute, you want to keep your dots up still, so reapply them. And then just spam Mage's Wrath over and over and over again until it dies. As you can see, I pulled 34.1k DPS solo with no other person here. However, I was applying Ele Drain, but my resources were bad. That is because, well, for multiple reasons. First, I didn't have any synergies I could pop, and there's nobody else activating orbs. So if you were in like a normal scenario where there's synergies you could use and people are throwing orbs, you will not have sustain issues. However, if you are not max CP, one of the things you can do with the Maelstrom Staff is there's a specific poison which gives you roughly 200 more magic regen over the course of the fight. If you slot this on your Maelstrom Staff, you do not lose the spell damage, and you get free regen. So if you find yourself having Magicka issues, you feel free to slot these poisons, but only if you're double barring Inferno Staves. It's not worth it if you're using a Moondancer Staff or a non-crafted set, because then you won't be able to use the, you won't get the enchant off of that, such as the 348 spell damage, as the poisons will negate that. So that's basically it for this. I will be uploading a Pet Slurk video within an hour after this video, so if you want to watch the Pet Slurk video, which is slightly higher DPS, feel free to check my channel. And if you have any questions, or if I failed to explain something properly, feel free to comment, or even add me in game. I play PCNA. My @name is @Leonova. So, thanks for watching, and I hope I helped.